Santorini is like a person with an online dating profile. It only shows off its best features, like a really hot Instagram model, with pictures that make you want to visit the island. But here's the thing, it's all a lie. There are terrible things about this island that you won't see in those beautiful Instagram photos. People who haven't been to Santorini yet don't know about its bad sides. Nobody wants you to see that. No one will tell you this horrible truth except for someone like me. I will tell you everything about Santorini's dark and ugly truth behind the scenes of those beautiful online pictures. If this sounds interesting to you, then keep watching. In today's video, I will be exposing 6 dark truths about Santorini that no one will tell you about. You won't see these in the beautiful pictures of Santorini that you see online each day. This is from personal experience and the experiences of many other honest visitors to the island. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with videos like this. Alright, to be very honest, Santorini is a really beautiful place in Greece that has white buildings with blue domes and pretty flowers growing all around. You can walk on cobblestone paths and see amazing sunsets over the ocean. The hotels are fancy and have cool infinity pools. In fact, it's one of the most famous romantic islands in the world due to its whitewashed buildings, blue domed churches, black sand beaches, and incredible landscape. No doubt this Greek island has been the site of plenty of dream vacations, honeymoons, and destination weddings. But let's face it, there is a lot more to this beautiful, picture-perfect island that most people aren't aware of. People aren't aware of it because it will make Santorini look really bad. These dark truths about Santorini that I will be exposing aren't just made up to tarnish the island, but I believe it's something all visitors should know before they decide to go there. So let's get things moving. The number 6 on our list will change how you see the island. Make sure to watch to the end. Number 1. Santorini is super expensive. Santorini might look like paradise, but this Greek island has a dark side that most visitors don't notice until it's too late. First of all, the truth is that this place is crazy expensive. I'm talking about the cost of living, which includes food, lodging, and transportation. Everything costs a lot more than it does in other parts of Greece. Don't you get me started on how much souvenirs or that fancy dinner you've been dreaming of will cost. Basically, if you don't have a lot of money, you won't be able to enjoy your time on this island very much. Everywhere you go, you'll see prices that are so high that you'll feel like you're losing money by the minute. So if you want to go to Santorini, you should be ready to spend a lot of money. And if you're on a tight budget, you might want to think twice before booking that flight. Because, let's be honest, being broke in Santorini is a really bad idea. Number 2. There are few beaches and they are terrible. Swimming in the beautiful Mediterranean Sea is a must-do for anyone visiting Santorini, but it can be hard to find the best place to go swimming. You know how everyone talks about the best beaches on the island. Kamari, Red Beach, and Parissa Black Sand Beach. Well, the sad truth is that they're not that great. They're just average and are always packed with people. I mean, there aren't that many other things to do on the island, so of course they'll be busy. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Red Beach is known for its red volcanic rocks, which are cool, but are hard to walk on or lay on. Even worse, tour groups often stop there, so you'll have to deal with lots of people coming and going all the time. Now, if the beach were big enough, maybe you could find some peace and quiet. But in reality, Red Beach is small and crowded, giving you very little room to move around. It's not quite the peaceful, beautiful time you might have hoped for. Oh, and here's another interesting thing about Red Beach. To get there, you have to walk on a path that has a lot of rough rocks and stones. It's not exactly a walk in the park, especially if you're wearing sandals or flip-flops. And to be honest, once you get to the beach, it's not really worth all the trouble. Parissa Beach is a little bit easier to get to, but it's full of sharp, black pebbles that can hurt your feet a lot. If you aren't careful, you could get serious burns from them, especially when the sun starts beating down on them. So always keep your shoes on. Even if you do find a place to put your towel down, you should know that those hot pebbles will make your behind feel pretty toasted. If you want to avoid the pain, the best thing to do is grab a beach chair, but there aren't many of them, so good luck with that. One good thing about Parissa Beach is that it's sometimes a great place to party. There will be a fun vibe in the air because famous DJs will be there to get the crowd going. Now, if the beach were big enough, maybe you could find some peace and quiet. But in reality, Red Beach is small and crowded, giving you very little room to move around. It's not quite the peaceful, beautiful time you might have hoped for. Oh, and here's another interesting thing about Red Beach. To get there, you have to walk on a path that has a lot of rough rocks and stones. It's not exactly a walk in the park, especially if you're wearing sandals or flip-flops. And to be honest, once you get to the beach, it's not really worth all the trouble. Parissa Beach is a little bit easier to get to, but it's full of sharp, black pebbles that can hurt your feet a lot. If you aren't careful, you could get serious burns from them, especially when the sun starts beating down on them. So always keep your shoes on. Even if you do find a place to put your towel down, you should know that those hot pebbles will make your behind feel pretty toasted. If you want to avoid the pain, the best thing to do is grab a beach chair, but there aren't many of them, so good luck with that. One good thing about Parissa Beach is that it's sometimes a great place to party. There will be a fun vibe in the air because famous DJs will be there to get the crowd going. Lastly, we have Kamari Beach. It's close to the airport, making it easy to find and get to. Unfortunately, that also means it's packed to the brim with tourists. Even though Kamari has some nice surround, there's not much to see here. When you get there and spend even 5 minutes there, you will realize that it isn't worth sticking around. It is a pretty big letdown, to be honest. To be honest, these beaches in Santorini don't even come close to the beaches on other islands in Greece. I mean, not even close. If you're looking for a beach that will truly take your breath away, you've got to check out Myrtos Beach in Kefalonia. Trust me, it's in a league of its own. Number 3. Popular Instagram photos locations are actually blocked off. So let's say you've decided that the island's beaches and other tourist spots aren't worth your time. Let's say you also know that it will be hard to get a good Instagram photo of the famous blue domes and white houses because so many other tourists will be trying to do the same thing. What you don't know is that it is now illegal to get a lot of these famous pictures. The thing is, many of the famous buildings with blue domes and white walls are actually privately owned. You can imagine that the owners don't like it when random people climb on their roofs or walk on their land without permission just to take a picture. When only a few people did it, it might not have been a big deal. But now that it's a popular thing for tourists to do, the locals are starting to crack down and protect their property. So be careful, because you could end up causing damage or breaking the law if you're not careful. So if you want to take those famous Instagram photos, you can either book a stay at one of the fancy cliffside villas or ignore the warning signs and trespass on private property. But let's face it, that's not cool, and who knows what kind of trouble you could get into. Is it really worth it? Number 4. The cities are swarming with tourists. Let me tell you something. The famous white and blue towns and cliffside views in Santorini are undeniably cool. But here's the thing, everyone knows it, and that's probably the main reason why people even bother visiting Santorini. So brace yourself for the chaos in the major cities like Oia Imiravigli and Pyrgos Callistus. When I say chaos, I mean rubbing sweaty shoulders with other tourists. Some streets might be a little wider, but as soon as you turn a corner, you're back to shuffling through narrow streets. Let me tell you, the crowded streets are just the beginning of the chaos in Santorini. You've got souvenir shops trying to sell their authentic Greek goods to everyone that walks by. And don't even get me started on the tourists who can't take a photo without blocking the entire street. It's like a never-ending maze, and you can't help but worry if you're even going the right way. And let's not forget about the heat. Picture yourself walking through a narrow street with the blazing sun beating down on you. There's no breeze, no shade, and the white cliffside houses reflect the sun right into your eyes. That will be your reality while exploring Oia Santorini. Wandering around the towns of Santorini is not what I would call a fun experience. Number 5. The archaeological sites aren't unimpressive. When you search for things to do in Santorini, visiting the archaeological sites always comes up as a top activity. Some people even believe Santorini could be the lost city of Atlantis. But surprisingly, the archaeological sites on the island are not that great. You would think a place with such a legendary reputation would have cooler ruins to explore, but unfortunately, that's not the case. The only archaeological sites in Santorini worth checking out are ancient Thera and Akrotiri. They are supposed to be the most significant prehistoric settlements in the Aegean, but I seriously doubt that. Ancient Thera is nothing more than a bunch of scattered stones. Akrotiri was completely destroyed during the volcanic eruption of Thera in the 2nd millennium BC. It's like Pompeii, but on a much smaller scale. You can see a few houses and frescoes that are falling apart. I guess the people of Akrotiri saw the eruption coming and fled in an organized way, leaving nothing behind. So there are no humans or precious artifacts left to see. To put it plainly, the archaeological stuff you can find in Santorini just can't match up to the cool things you'd see in Athens, Olympia, or Rhodes. It's like comparing a burned out candle to a blazing bonfire. Number 6. The rest of the island is ugly. You can't deny that the towns on the cliffs of Santorini are absolutely beautiful. The sights you'll see of the volcano and the Mediterranean are just stunning. Plus, there are plenty of yummy restaurants, cool bars, and fancy hotels to check out, although they might cost you a lot. I hate to say it, but the rest of Santorini just doesn't compare to the stunning towns perched on the cliffs overlooking the Mediterranean. It's like leaving a really fancy place like Hollywood and going to a random small town in the middle of nowhere. There are a couple of small towns with a few sad-looking trees, but they're nothing like the famous aware that you see in all the Instagram pictures. Lastly, don't rent a car. Don't drive around the island. The roads are packed with people, and the views are terrible. Save your time and keep drinking at your cliffside villa. In conclusion, if you're considering a trip to Santorini, the only reasons to go are if you want to just chill out in a fancy villa with stunning views without having to explore other parts of the island, or if you're a die-hard photographer looking to capture those famous and recognizable shots. But let's be real, neither of those reasons is worth the insane amount of money you'll have to spend. Instead, why not explore one of the other 226 inhabited Greek islands that are way less crowded and won't drain your bank account? Save yourself the trouble and check out some of the other beautiful places Greece has to offer. Santorini is a classic case of a place that's blown up in popularity thanks to social media hype and heavily edited photos. But let's be real, other than being a pretty background for those pictures, it doesn't really offer much else. It's like a one-trick pony. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.